magic of Mohiniyattam, literally the dance of the enchantress, has to be understood in the context of the land of its birth, Kerala, the small coastal strip in the southwest of the Indian subcontinent, and in Hindu mythology said to be the home of sage Parashurama. In the sheer natural abundance of its tropical surroundings and the highly developed aesthetic sensibilities of its people, it is easy to trace the roots of and understand the specific rhythms and the movements of Mohini, the enchantress. The predominant quality of the Mohiniyattam form is recognized as Lasya. The word Lasya is not easily translatable, but conveys the grace, the sensuousness, the seductive gestures, and the swaying body movements of the feminine form. Many of the art forms of Kerala spring from traditions rooted in the worship of Shakti, the female energy. The most significant manifestation of Shakti, or the female life force, is Mohini, a character transformed into an enchantress. In the highly stylized classical art form of Nanyar Kutu, for example, the mythological Ramayana character Shurpanakha, ugly and of evil intent, transforms herself as Mohini to lure the gods Rama and Lakshmana. In the Krishna Natam, another ancient classical dance drama tradition, performed in the famous Guruvayur temple in Kerala, Mohini comes as the demoness Putana to kill the infant Lord Krishna by suckling him on her poisoned breast. Interestingly, her desire to kill is made complex by the maternal longings she cannot suppress as she suckles. In the vibrant Kathakali, the most popularly known dance drama tradition of Kerala, Panchali is enticed by a demon enchantress. In yet another episode, Mohini charms to distraction her husband Rukmangada, who is engaged in penance.
Mohiniyattam is visual poetry. The romantic fragrance of its movements and music reflect the geography and the cultural ethos of Kerala. Its simplicity and charm do establish the classicism of Mohiniyattam and hence ensures a vibrant communication with the beholders. From the maze of Kerala arts, rich and colorful, Mohiniyattam enjoys a nobility adapted from the rich cultural heritage of the women of Kerala.
A distinguishing feature of Kerala society is the high social position of its women and the honor and privilege they have always been accorded. Mohiniyattam very naturally incorporates in the art form the simple gestures and movements of a woman's everyday life. The Kai Kottikari, a recreational dance performed on festive occasions, the Tudi Kutta, or the sportive dalliance of girls in water, the knotting of wet hair after a bath, all find their way in a Mohiniyattam performance, just as naturally as the iconography of the sculptures of the temples of Kerala. Classical Indian aesthetic theory and convention relates all art forms to 9 rasas or dominant moods. Of these, the Shringar rasa, which celebrates beauty and in which beauty merges in love, is the predominant rasa of Mohiniyattam. The temple architecture of Kerala has been a perennial source of inspiration. The circumambulatory movements of the worshipper around the sanctum sanctorum are reflected in the circular movement of most of the dance forms of Kerala. The Lasya of Mohiniyattam originates in the body's movements but celebrates the rhythm of the life force. The gentle swaying of the dancer's movements is evocative of the Shringara rasa, and even the pure dance sequences are so inherently lyrical that the Lasya element in itself can convey the mood unaided by song or word. In the middle of the last century, Mohiniyattam found its greatest patron, Maharaja Swathi Thirunal. He not only revived this dance form under his patronage, but enriched its repertoire as a composer. His compositions, distinct for their lyrical fervor and grace, invoke Lord Padmanabha, the royal patron deity. This is a famous composition of Swathi Thirunal, revolving around a well-known theme in all classical Indian traditions. The love-lorn Nayika separated from her divine lover, in this case Lord Padmanabha. The Nayika recalls the happy days spent with him and implores her friend, the Sakhi, to seek and fetch him back.
മെല്ലെ പാടി നനപാടി പാടി മെല്ലെ പാടി നനപാടി പാടി മെല്ലെ പാടി നനപാടി പാടി മെല്ലെ പാടി നനപാടി
After the untimely death of Maharaja Swathi Thirunal, Mohiniyattam, shorn of its royal patronage, seemed to have disappeared into oblivion for a while. Kalamandalam Kalyani Kutti Amma, one of the doyens of Mohiniyattam, has kept the tradition of this dance form alive.
The beauty, grace, the subtle movements of the body and the various footwork are the unique features of Mohiniyattam of Kerala, which inspired Mahakavi Vallatol to establish the Kerala Kalamandalam.
The revival of Mohiniyattam after Swati Thirunal's death owes much to the poet Mahakavi Vallatol Narayana Menon, whose pioneering efforts gave the dance its present place of importance. He also established the Kalamandalam, an institution that has since nourished the art forms of Kerala. Young dancers are initiated into the grammar of Mohiniyattam and learn the basic dance units or the adavus, which are then strung together to form the Cholakatta, the invocatory dance offering. The poet Jayadeva as a natural choice in its repertoire. This famous work of erotic verse is in fact a form of metaphysical poetry. The mood of temporal love and longing is a metaphor for longing of the soul with the Absolute. For centuries, the temples of Kerala have resounded with the Ashtapadis of Geet Govindam, rendered in the Sopana tradition and providing it with a specific regional flavor.
Every dance in India has its roots in spirituality. Spiritual element cannot be separated from any dance form of India, any art of India. More so in the case of Mohiniyattam and Sopana system of music. Its combination is such close, such inseparable, that both would jointly contribute to the spiritual aspect which should be underlined. The concept of Sopanam is the steps which lead to the Sanctum Sanctorum. And the Sanctum Sanctorum is here the Sanctum Sanctorum of art, the Sanctum of dance. And one is led to the Sanctum through the rhythm of Edekya, which has got all nuances which supply the whole the structure of Mohiniyattam, the movement of Mohiniyattam.
At its most sublime, Mohiniyattam is an act of worship by the human body. From a contemplation of the charms of this world and this body, the dancer takes the beholder to an apprehension of the enchanted world beyond. As this mood of bliss and transcendence is built up, the dancer, the human body, and the merely temporal fade away. What remains are the eternal rhythms of the waves and the enveloping silence.